If we're starting with Division III Trinity against Millsaps, if I might borrow from Vince Scully, you know in the season of the improbable, the impossible happened.
Barmore throws it over the middle, complete to Thompson. Thompson looking for a block. He laterals it to Curry, and Curry laterals it again, and it's caught again. And Tomlin now on the lateral, and now the lateral to Thompson, and he laterals it back to Maddox on the other side. Maddox looking for a block. He fakes the lateral to Curry. Now he laterals it to Curry. Curry's at the 49-yard line. He's dancing around. He throws it back now to Maddox, who throws it across the field to Barmore. Barmore looking to run. He's looking for a block. He's got a convoy. He's going to throw it to Thompson. Thompson's at the 30-yard line. Thompson now laterals it back to Curry at the 35. They're running out of spaces. Curry fakes. He's going to lateral it to Tomlin. Tomlin's got a chance to go. Tomlin's got a chance to go. He laterals it. Now he's going to go to Maddox. Maddox at the 30-yard line. And now it's a lateral. And Curry's still going.
No way.
Curry's
no way.
It's a touchdown.
It's a touchdown.
Scores. The game is over. Curry scores. Curry scores on the lateral. Curry scores. The Tigers lateraled it and kept lateraling, and the game is over. The Tigers win.
The Sun Devils are number 4 in the BCS, but now the schedule's getting tougher. Next 4 foes have a record of 22-6. First 7 opponents, losing record. Rudy Carpenter stripped. Cameron Jordan going the other way.
Cameron Jordan, the big fella, taking it in for the score.
Bears go up 7-0. It's a 13-7 game. Nate Longshore to Deshaun Jackson.
And Deshaun Jackson, the presence of mind, catching the ball, dragging the foot in for the score.
20-7, but Arizona State always gets off to a slow start. Dimitri Nance getting some extra run with the injury to Ryan Terrain. Scores his second touchdown of the half. And then Carpenter, who's 10th in the nation in passing efficiency, finds Michael Jones, who made a spectacular grab, and Nance would pay it off with his 3rd touchdown.
And a nice, powerful one right here by Nance. He gets stopped in the middle, but keeps the legs going and goes to his left end for the score.
Dennis Erickson's team coming back from a deficit again. Carpenter to Kyle Williams. Arizona State 31-20. When Cal punted to Arizona with just under 6 minutes to go, Cal never saw the ball again. Arizona State ran it out the rest of the way, and they head to Oregon undefeated. Number 5, Oregon taking on USC. The Ducks trying to prove their worth if there were any doubters left about them as a national championship contender. This is a 4th-and-1 play. SC got tricky.
Why get tricky? Just hand it off straight ahead. But Joel McKnight, no tricks here. Straight up the gut. Great blocking. He's going to go down. Watch his quick move right there. Turn on the Jets. The freshman, 65 yards on the touchdown run. But wait.
Oh, they've got holding. Pete Carroll displeased. That would have tied the game. As it is, now we picked it up in the 3rd. It's 10-3. Sanchez to Patrick Turner.
Just a great throw here, but even a better catch, which puts Southern Cal, ties it up at 10-all.
Sanchez 26-41 for 277. Jonathan Stewart ripping through the defense. He went over 100 yards, scored a couple of touchdowns. Ducks back on top 17-10. Under 2 minutes to go in the 3rd. Sanchez underthrows McCoy. Matthew Harper's there for the pick. It's a Pontiac game-changing nominee. Harper's going to pick up some ground, get it back, across his own 40-yard line. Ensuing drive in the 4th quarter. 3rd and goal for the Ducks. Who are you going to, Mayday?
I'm going to Jonathan Stewart. The power right off the right side. Bam! Right in the end zone. Score.
Oregon coming up with a 2nd touchdown. Remember, SC was 4th in the nation in rush defense. Stewart went for over 100. Sanchez coming right back. The big freshman, David Osbury, and SC's within a touchdown. 2nd and 10 for USC now. 23 ticks to go. Sanchez desperate, firing into traffic. Harper there again with the pick. And the Ducks knock off USC, handing them their 2nd conference loss. If there are any doubters about Oregon, you might as well forget it.
As you look at this game, the turnovers are the story for us, you know, in the second half when you have to play right and do things right. We gave them a couple easy shots, and they took advantage of it, and they played a very good football game.
It's a big win. It's a great win simply because SC has been the flag bearer in this conference for about 5 years. They've been involved in 3 national championships, something like that. So for us to beat them is very, very big. And again, very proud of our team, especially our defensive football team.
At the moment is in the best shape of any of the 0-loss teams. There were 5 of those coming into Saturday. But going into Happy Valley, where since Penn State joined the Big Ten, Buckeyes have been 2-5, and Rodney Kenlaw put Penn State up 7-3 in the first quarter. But the Buckeyes would march as they did all night. Todd Beckman finding Ray Small.
Todd Beckman's been super this season, completed 65% of his passes right here. A beautiful pass to Ray Small, takes it down inside the Penn State 10.
And when you get close, you might as well go to Brian Rece.
Oh, what a great throw here, but not only that, Penn State had trouble all day covering the receivers from Ohio State. That's why they gave up 463 yards total offense.
That's why they never made Ohio State punt. Not once. Not once in the game. Beckman sending out his heartline and throwing a touchdown pass. Watch how Steve Raring and Alex Boone in perfect position to execute the screen.
Shoulders downfield, you find an opponent, you cut him, you block him, get in front of your opponent to make sure you're shielding for your receiver. Great job, great execution by the Ohio State offense.
And Hartline paid it off in the fourth quarter. Among starting quarterbacks in the country, Anthony Morelli, the second least efficient, and he threw a pick-6 to Malcolm Jenkins there. Not a good night for Morelli. 12 of 21, 111 yards, no touchdowns, and that pick. And Ohio State walks into State College, and they just slap around the Nittany Lions, blowing them out by 20, 37-17, the final, as Ohio State rolls on 9-0, and they get set for Wisconsin while they bask in the glory of a win over Jopa's Nittany Lions. Gators have won 15 of 17 from Georgia, but typically Florida had the off week coming in. This time it was Georgia that arrived well rested. Noshawn Marino scores. And Mark Richt told his team, if you don't get a celebration penalty on our first touchdown, I'm going to be mad. Hey, they got one, Lou.
Well, you can't be mad, but I want to tell you, I would be mad if I was a coach, and I'd really be mad if I was Urban Meyer. That's not the way you play the game.
Mark Richt perhaps using some gamesmanship, and we've seen Richt push his players off from jumping on logos and so forth. So, you know, that's not a standard operating procedure, and that's certainly not what he wanted from Matthew Stafford. The pick-6 to Wandy Pierre-Louis took it all the way back to tie it at 14. 17-14 now. Stafford took a knee because he thought they caught the Gators in the neutral zone. Clint McMillan came over the top. This thing got real chippy. Ball snapped. Stafford gets leveled. That's a personal foul because when the quarterback takes a knee, obviously he's down. 9 personal foul penalties combined in this game. They don't like each other.
That was set up, though, with the initial celebration.
They've had some injuries in the backfield. That's bad, but it's good if it means Noshawn Marino gets the ball more.
And a terrific run by Noshawn Marino. Goes to the right, cuts it back to his left, follows his blockers. What a terrific run by Marino.
33 carries, $188. Here goes Superman. Now, Tim Tebow didn't carry the ball much with that bad shoulder. In fact, he had negative yards rushing after being sacked 6 times, but he scored there. Dogs have the lead again, 28-24. Mikey Henderson beats Pierre-Louis for the touchdown, 53 yards, his second career touchdown catch. Dogs up 35-24, but here comes Tebow again. His second rushing touchdown, 9 straight games with a rushing touchdown, but 35-30, and Moreno's going to have none of it. Georgia stops the Hex. Here's Rich.
I said, when we score our first touchdown, if we don't get a celebration penalty, I'm going to run every one of y'all. I just said, man, we got to have some passion here, and if we just got to create it, we're going to do it. And then I had to clarify it today before we got here, just leaving the hotel. I just said, look, man, it's a team celebration. It's not just one guy doing something off the chain, you know.
I tell you, Georgia come out tight the last few years. They weren't tight for this one. South Carolina and Tennessee didn't look as if it was going to be a tight game. Tennessee won 13 of the last 14 against the Gamecocks, and Eric Ainge finds Josh Briscoe, and the Vols were cutting him up at 21-0. But Corey Boyd would answer in a 21-7 game.
This is a great run from a great back. In the second half, South Carolina rushed for 353 yards in the second half alone, had total offense.
A little over 9 minutes, the Gamecocks put up 3 touchdowns. Blake Mitchell, Kenny McKinley.
Nice job of pass protection. A great route by McKinley in the back of the end zone. Just throw it at the goalpost.
21-21, Ryan Suckup, toe meets leather. Jimmy Kimmel will be pleased. 49 yards, 24-21. Gamecocks have the edge. Arian Foster, puts it on the ground. That should be the ball game. Somehow, Jacques McClendon recovered for Tennessee, and Tennessee still hasn't lost a fumble since the Florida game. And then when they were trying to tie it, timeout just before the false start, I should say. Actually, back Daniel Lincoln up. He hooked the first one. He hooked the second one, but not as badly. Squeezed it in there. Going to overtime, close to Halloween. A lot of orange going on in the stadium. Now in 27-24 game. Oh, Kenny McKinley was by himself out there, and Blake Mitchell overthrew it. Now Suck up from 41 yards, trying to push it to double overtime. Never gave it a chance. Went off Florida State. Wide right. 27-24, the Vols bounce back by beating the Gamecocks. Mississippi State and Kentucky. Kentucky's had two brutal weeks. First LSU, then Florida. Worst passing team in the league, one of the worst in the country. Wesley Carroll to Anthony Dixon. That was Carroll's second touchdown pass. Rich Brooks called this game an all-systems failure. They botched up the punt there, leading to a Bulldog touchdown to make it 24-7. It's 24-14 when Andre Woodson, looking for Steve Johnson, winds up throwing a pick.
And this is an ill-advised throw, obviously, but a great defensive stand by Mississippi State. They were terrific all day, all over the field, making plays, defense, offense, and special teams.
And on a fourth down play, still with a chance. I think that was supposed to be just a play fake, and Woodson, Monsell Allen got all goofed up. Kentucky recovered, but State gets the ball back because it was fourth down. Jacob Tammy puts it on the ground. State recovers. They win at 31-14 since setting that consecutive throw without a pick record at 325 passes. Woodson's thrown 7 interceptions. So now try to figure out the SEC East in our all-state standings review. Though Georgia has a half-game edge by virtue of having one more conference win, remember, the Vols won head-to-head, and they're locked up in the loss column. So Tennessee is the team that controls its own destiny. Virginia beat Rutgers in triple overtime last year, knocked the Scarlet Knights out of a share of the Big East title. Rutgers wearing all black, perhaps to prepare for a day of mourning. They tried to handle the Mountaineers. Steve Slayton bottled up to the left, went to the right.
You know, Steve Slayton's an all-weather back. Dry track, wet track, muddy track, fouls his blockers into the end zone, 38 yards for the score.
Steve Slayton is the active touchdown leader among all running backs. It's 7-0. The punt here would deflect off a Rutgers player, recovered by West Virginia. The Mountaineers get a break. Here comes Pat White. Now, White's going to put the ball on the ground before he gets into the end zone. They reviewed it, but it became obvious White clearly fumbled. He also clearly recovered the fumble, so touchdown West Virginia to make it 14-0. And here goes Slayton with his second of 3 touchdowns on the day, Luke.
I could have scored on this one, in all due respect.
Easy.
31. Had a couple of close shaves. They had South Florida coming into the Rent. That's the nickname for their home stadium. I think people have better familiarize themselves with Randy Edsall's team. Mike Ford appears to have tied the game for South Florida. That thing's coming back. Holding penalty. Same drive. South Florida appears to have scored again when Matt Grothe hit Cedric Hill right in the chest. Oh! Bulls had to settle for a field goal. Grothe frustrated. South Florida trailing 22-15. It's a 4th and goal play. Now, Grothe took a sack on 3rd down, so this is their last chance with under a minute to go.
Well, let's give UConn credit. Boy, they played great defense all day. They played physical, and they were very opportunistic.
It's their first win over a ranked opponent ever. UConn and South Florida went to 1A or bowl subdivision in the same year of 2000, and Randy Edsall's Huskies, he said after the game, we earned a lot of respect. I think he did. Those two teams will meet late in the season at the end, November 24th, UConn, West Virginia, possibly for the Big East title.
And keep an eye on Randy Edsall. He's going to be on a lot of short lists for some big jobs that are going to be available in the offseason.
Kansas rolling in undefeated. Oh, Mark Mangino looking like the Velvet Fog there. He's got his team unbeaten and playing nasty defense. Brandon McAnderson, a career-high 183 yards. He put Kansas up 13-0 after the 3rd quarter. Bad snap to Stephen McGee. John Larson swarming for the Jayhawk defense. Here goes McAnderson again, Mayday.
Great blocking right up the middle, but a nice cut right there. Puts the ball on the right hand, and down the sideline he goes, right down inside the 5.
And by right, you meant correct. What do you think, Lou, about this Kansas team? You've been high on them for a while.
I've been high on them. They're very athletic, very physical, play excellent defense, play very intelligent football.
19-11. Kansas goes into Kyle Field and wins. They're 8-0 for the first time in 98 years since the Taft administration, and the Jayhawks are rolling atop the Big 12 North. It would seem Many thought Nebraska would win that division and start the season, but the Huskers in free fall. Sam Keller and the Children of the Corn in Austin to take on Texas. No quit shown by Nebraska in this game. Keller finds Nate Swift. Keller had an outstanding day, throwing for nearly 300 yards. Swift went for over 100, but tracking down Jamal Charles in the fourth quarter proved to be problematic for the black shirt defense, Mayday.
And Jamal Charles, look at him get to the outside and turn on the Jets right here. He's gone.
He is a track sprinter. He went 86 yards. This the Pontiac game-changing nominee. Texas had a failed two-point conversion, so their lead was 21-17. Just over 3 minutes to go. You know, Charles had nearly 300 yards rushing, 290. He had 216 of them in the fourth quarter alone. That's just 6 yards shy of the all-time single-quarter record set by Corey Dillon of Washington. 3 quarters, but not so much at the end. Nation's leading rusher is that man there. Mike Hart sitting out for Michigan in the Little Brown Jug game against Minnesota. Ryan Mallett was in there for the injured Chad Henne. Ball gets on the ground. Dominique Barber, scoop, score, Gophers! Gophers only won one game, lost to North Dakota State up 10-0 in the Big House, but now it's 20-10. Ryan Mallett, DeMario Manningham, who had a career day, 162 yards receiving, 34-10.
But great throw, but the main thing about it is they held Minnesota without a touchdown.
Michigan State and Iowa. Brian Hoyer, Michigan State, J.U. Colquitt getting the call. Michigan State had a 17-3 lead at the half, but Iowa alum Tom Arnold giving you the scoop.
And then at tailback, we got Albert Young. Guaranteed 100-yard game today. First time since the opener.
Albert Young hadn't had a 100-yard game since the season opener, and Albert Young is loose. 26 yards in Iowa, getting back in it, down 17-10. Later in the third, here goes Young again, Mayday.
Right up the middle, nice blocking by the offensive line, particularly the center and right guard.
Tom Arnold has the amazing Prescott as Young went over 100. Here's Hoyer to Devin Thomas. Down 3 late were the Spartans. Now head to a tying field goal, tied it at 20 with 4 ticks to go. In the second overtime now, Javon Pugh, Iowa. Going up 34-27. Michigan State had to answer. It's 4th and 13. Hoyer to Thomas, complete, but not close to the first down. Iowa wins it in double overtime, 34-20. Virginia unbeaten in ACC play. They lost the season opener against Wyoming. It's a 23-17 lead for North Carolina State. Mikel Simpson, who has emerged as a star for Al Groh's team after having 271 yards of offense against Maryland last week, gives Virginia another 1-point lead. But Daniel Evans finds Donald Bowens 11 catches, over 200 yards, and a couple of touchdowns. NC State up 29-24. Jameel Sewell was hurt. Peter Lalick into the game at quarterback. Willie Young coming after him. Sacked the Fighting Tom O'Brien's, their first ACC win, and O'Brien's first ACC win at NC State. Ole Miss and Auburn. You know, Tommy Tuberville was in Ed Orgeron's wedding. Coach O, the head ball coach at Ole Miss.
Did he drive a Hummer there?
There was a stretch Hummer carrying away the bridal couple, I would imagine. Brad Lester with a 1-yard touchdown run, and after Brett Schaefer had thrown a pick in the end zone, Auburn marched down and put a little icing on the cake. Cox to Rod Smith, 17-3. Auburn wins it. Now let's take you through the country. This North Carolina and Wake Forest Tar Heels. He kicked a field goal. And how about Kevin Marion? 98 yards. Wake Forest bowl eligible again. Only one loss in conference play. That to BC. 37-10 the final. Pitt and Louisville. Pat Bostic, Derek Turner.
Nice pass by Pat Bostic, but a better catch by Derek Turner, sliding into the end zone for the score.
Now, it looked like he scored.
He scored.
Have another look.
He scored.
Have another look.
Hey, Pitt Panthers, he scored.
Knee down, ball not in.
Was it called a touchdown?
It was not. Because on the very next play was Sean McCoy. Puts it on the ground. Louisville's defense makes a play. The Ville, 24-17. Costly bit of officiating, but the call was correct. 24-17 the final. Colorado, Texas Tech. Graham Harrell finds the nation's leading tackler, Jordan Dizon.
Nice interception here. This is the second year in a row that they have beaten Texas Tech. All the yardage Texas Tech gets against everybody else, they can't do it against Colorado.
I think Terrence Wheatley of Colorado, I think he is hungering for a helmet sticker. He picked off Harrell 3 times on the day. Second straight game, Harrell throws 4 picks. Colorado just a win away. You know, like Virginia in the ACC, UCLA in the Pac-10, undefeated. People had questions about them. The way they lost to Utah, lost to Notre Dame, now going to the Palouse. But early on, Khalil Bell ringing up a touchdown to put Carl Durrell's team up 7-0.
They had 19 starters back from last year's team, so they were expected to be awfully good.
Oh, sometimes you go up there to Martin Stadium on the Palouse and you have to deal with Dwight Tardy, who's right on time to tie it at 7. Then Alex Brink to Brandon Gibson, and Brink basically pushes UCLA over the brink. Cougs get it done, 27-7 over UCLA. Oh, Big East, Big Ten, Big Sky Meet. Weber State and Portland State. It was 7-3 at the end of the first quarter. It didn't stay that way. Portland State freshman Drew Hummel making his first college start. Hummel first connected with Tremaine Kirkland, then found Kenneth Mackins. He threw 9 touchdown passes to set a school and conference record. Weber State's Cameron Higgins would give it to Trevin Smith. These two teams combined to score 141 points. That's an all-division scoring record. There's never been a higher.
1-7 Iowa State, 6-1 Missouri. Chase Daniel, Martin Rucker for 18 yards. This would lead to a Jimmy Jackson rushing touchdown. The Jack Show, 7-0 Tigers. Tony Temple, 7 yards for a score. Missouri, they win the telephone trophy, 42-28.